Hi there, welcome to my first fiberglassing of a tiger video. First thing you're going to have to do is make up your plug or model. This is what I use. It's made of MDF. It's made up of 2 layers of MDF, one about 3/4 and one about 1/2 inch. And what you do is you add extra 6mm or 9mm depending on how far you want to build it up. Once you glue all these on, just start to shape the thing out. Basically this is what you've got, and it's going to start with. Here's one that's just about ready. This is one I've done, rubbed down, all the rest of it. As you can see here, it's got this section out the front. I always put this on all my tigers, especially if you're using a lens system. I always add this on because once you get just shape it to the size of your pipe that you're going to be using for your lens, it just slips on at the end of the fiberglassing. Perfect. Lens in front, be protection there to set the lens back. Some holes, just the same as the Quick or Dead's got on the website. Okay, this is basically the model. Take this one off. Okay, you're left with your model. As you can see here, if you separate it, it's left in 2 halves the MDF. Okay, a wee tip when you're screwing them together, make sure you screw them in places where you're not going to be screwing it, where you're going to be placing another piece of wood over the top. Put your screws somewhere you can easily get them back out. Okay, this was just painted with a plastic coat, black primer, just to get a smooth enough finish to work off it. Okay, I haven't got time to do this one here, but I've actually made up another one here. So basically this is what I've done. I've taken 1/2 of this gun here. This is a scar model I've made earlier on. Okay, so this is, you can see here, I've just screwed it. What I've done is I've screwed 1/2 of it to the back. I've screwed it, a couple of holes in the back, screwed it onto it to hold it in place. So you can put it down, and that's it there for fiberglassing. So the first thing you have to do, you have to get your wax. I use this one here. It's called a Mould Release wax, TR Mould Release. What it is take some of this. If I can open the tub, that is. Change the mixture. Just get some of the wax, rub it, and rub your wax all over it. Okay. But even on the wood as well, just wrap it right around everything, on the wood, all over the mat. Cover it all up, and just leave that to dry, and then give it a wee kind of buff up. I usually just use a bit of kitchen roll, something like that. Just buff it to you get a kind of smoothest finish on it. Once you've got that, the next thing you do, you have to put on your release agent. I use a matte finish one, because once it dries to a matte finish, you know it's dry, it's easy to use. What you do is, you just take a little drop of this, to show you something here, just for show. Just there, it's there. It's a blue in colour, so it's easy to see. Take this, paint it all over the tiger, cover it all up, and just leave it until it dries. Okay, we haven't got time to do this just now because this is only a display I'm going to do. So once that dries, you just leave it till it dries. I'll just take it off just now. This is only for a demonstration. Let's leave it just now. Next thing you've got to do, you've got to make up some of your thing there. I usually use them. Collect some of these, your margarine tubs from the house. Ideal size, no waste. What you want to do is take some. Just not much more than that. You probably need a bit double that if you want to make it, as you can see here. Just about double that for 2 sections of the tiger should be enough. Okay. What you want to do, if you've not already got a pre-coloured gel coat, you can use some of the other type ones that you can get. What I do is just put a small pigment in it. I've got here small pigmented green. Don't need much, just put it in it. Give it a stir up and give it some colour. You can buy already coloured gel coats if you want, you can use that yourself. Okay, once you've mixed it to the green, whatever shade you want, the colour you want to use, then you have to use your catalyst. Now you only need a small drop for that, not even that much. See that red line on the bottle, you don't even need that. The more catalyst you get, the harder and the more brittle it'll be, so you just need that's plenty, just a wee drop like that. Get a good stir. Okay, take your stick out of the way. Get yourself a nice 1-inch paintbrush. You get a box of 12 of them for about £6 out of one of the shops. Take this and start just brushing it gently all over the gun. Just cover the full gun with it. When you come to small areas, just dab it into it, make sure there's plenty gun in it, and get rid of the air bubbles. So this is your gel coat. This is going to be your finished surface on the actual tagger when you take it out of the mould. Well, this is going to be the mould, sorry. This is going to be the mould. Don't have to be too fancy, as long as you get it all in. Get rid of all of the air pockets. And what they do is run about 1 inch or the width of a paintbrush right round the edge of the tagger. I don't know if you managed to see this okay through that camera angle, it's not very clear. Okay, if you can see that, that's all you have to do. Just try and get it so, especially in these areas here where you're going to be doing a lot of rubbing down, put it a wee bit thicker. Just leave it inside, because you're going to do a lot of sanding that later on in the day. Okay. So that's your gel coat. Just leave it till it dries. You want it where it's dry enough just to touch it. Nothing comes off in your finger, but you're just left with this kind of tackiness. Once it gets to that stage, you're ready to put your first layer of fiberglass on. Okay. Since I haven't got time to do that, I'm just going to show you a demonstration. So if you just imagine that the gel coat is dry, it's got the tacky dryness. Now the next thing we want to do is make up your resin. So you do the exact same against what you've done with the gel coat. Take the gel coat, pour some resin into a tub. You can't do this, remember, until that's dry. So it's just it's dryness, but it's still got a tackiness about it. Same again. A little splash of catalyst, not a lot. You can see there, I don't know if you can see it, there's not a lot there. Get a good stir. So this is your fiberglass ready. So if you can just imagine this was ready, okay, I'd be painting the fiberglass, cover it all in fiberglass resin, full lot of it, cover the full every part of it up. Once it's all covered up, then what you have to do, I would advise you to get this stuff here, fiberglass. It comes in 6mm chopped areas. Really good for doing small projects like this where they've got lots of dips and crannies where they can nick into. So what I want you to do is just take this stuff here. So as you imagine now, we're on the fiberglass stage, and just gently sprinkle it all over it. So the road. What you should do as well is maybe get some round the sides so you get it on the edges. The same this way. Now once you get a decent covering on it, not too much because you'll build up some heat and then it'll end up melting your wax that you put on underneath there. Then what you want to do is just get your resin. I just want you to stipple it. Just keep stippling it all the time. Just cover the full gun. This way you've got to keep pushing. Just keep doing it. It's a slow process. You just got to keep tapping away all the time. Put resin on, covering the tagger. At the same time pressing really hard, knocking it into all the wee crevices, all the nooks and crannies. we call it here in Scotland. As you can see, it's starting to change colour now. That means the resin's starting to seep into the fiberglass. Just quickly go around it because you don't get much time to work with your resin. Okay, the best thing about using these chopped strands is you can see how it shapes into every single piece of the wood. You're no left with no air bubbles, which is going to create a problem later on with your gel coat breaking free the resin. So you know what you do now is just keep going over it. Keep tap, 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 pressing quite hard. Just chap into all the wee holes, work your way all around the edges. Keep tapping away. What you're looking for is any kind of white colours. If you see a kind of white colour, that means there's some air trapped in it. So you want to try and get that air out, because that means it's not bonding to the gel coat. If you can see it now, you can see the difference in it. Just keep going over it. Now, if anything's standing up, just keep tapping away till it lies down. Keep looking for the whitish colour areas, because that means it's foaming air underneath it. If you were doing that with the matting, this is the matting here, if you were doing that with the matting, how thick it is, when you've got a thick area mat, you've got thick mat like this, you see how thick it is. If you were trying to bend it into that, what would happen after a wee while, it would start to raise back off the gel coat. You would create an air pocket, which would then just break the gel coat later on. So the marvellous stuff, this stuff here, is the chopped strands. You don't get that problem, because they're small, they just bed quite easily into everything. Saves you a lot of time. Don't be too keen on trying to do two sections at once, just do a wee drop and do one at a time. Just keep going over it. If you see anything standing up, just gently tap it down with a brush. You can see there it's starting to go into every part of the body, working out in the stagger. That's amazing. Especially got any fine detail with like hollows and that, make sure it dips into all the hollows. Looks like all the air. This is just for demonstration purposes only. I'm not going to be using this again. Okay, as you can see here, that's it. So that's your gel coat. You put your wax on, your release agent, your gel coat, left it dry until it's just tacky, dry but tacky. Then put your first layer of fibreglass on using the 6mm, sprinkle over the top, and just stamp all back into position. Now what you want to do is just leave this now, just leave this till it dries, because that means you're stuck everything right to the gel coat now, with a nice layer of fibreglass. Nice and fine, covered in, it's filled in all the wee small holes.